wonderful guy. And now we were flying on the plane to Aruba, right? And I start getting nervous because I haven't been on a plane in a while. So my anxiety, my stress level is building up, building up, building up. I pass out on the plane. Right? Oh my God. I pass out on the plane. All of a sudden, for about 20 seconds, and then I come back to life, and my wife is screaming. And is there over the loudspeaker? Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? Right? So I'm like, yo, shut up. I'm fine. It was just an anxiety attack. Don't. They put me on blast. The whole plane is looking at me. Everybody's standing up. Is he all right? Is he all right?
Which
So
is
now my anxiety.
It's going to make you have another attack.
Right. So now my anxiety's going. So now I'm going like this, right? And the freaking people are bugging out. So this young kid walks up to me, right? And he jumps in the seat next to me. He goes, are you okay? I look at him. This kid looked like Doogie Howse. He was about 25 years old. I said, who are you? He goes, I'm a doctor. I said, you're a doctor. How old are you? He says, I'm 32. He says, what does that have to do with, are you feeling okay? I said, yeah, why? He says, you mind if I ask you a question? I says, no, go ahead. What's up? He says, did you release, your bowel movements? I said, what do you mean? Did I take a, I says, no, I didn't do none of that. He says, I says, listen, buddy, I have Parkinson's disease, and when I get anxious and my stress levels get elevated, my body wicks out, and sometimes I faint. So he's like, you sure you're okay? I said, we're 4,000 feet up in the air. Even if I wasn't okay, what are we going to go to the hospital now? Make a U-turn, pull up at the next hospital. We're over the Atlantic Ocean. Where are we going? Of course I'm okay. I got no choice but to be okay. So we get to Aruba. We have a great time. It was beautiful, drinking margaritas at the beach every day. Nice. No Italians next to you. Hey, what are you shooting blanks? What, you can't have no babies? What, you don't know how to do it? So we didn't have any of that, right? And so we come back. It's about 2 weeks. And now, when you go to these foreign places, you drink the water, you get a stomach ache or a bad reaction. So my wife goes, man, my stomach's been hurting me for the last couple of weeks. And not thinking anything about it, I says, maybe you got an indigestion, because maybe we had some food over there that didn't agree with you. So she says, if it goes on for another day or two, I'm going to go see the doctor. I says, all right, let's go see the doctor. So we go to the doctor, and they do a sonogram to check the stomach to see if there's anything. So the doctor's sitting there, and he goes, oh, man. I says, oh, man, what? He says, I see something. I said, she got a tumor? He says, no, she doesn't have a tumor. I said, well, what is it? An ulcer? What does she got? He says, no. He says, come back at 7 o'clock. We'll do the sonogram, the 3D sonogram. I said, Doc, is there something serious? He says, you're having a baby. I says, I'm having a baby. Get the hell out of here. It's been 3 years I've been shooting down range and nothing happened. He said, well, guess what? One of your bullets hit the target and you're having a baby.
Welcome to another episode of William Steele True Crime on YouTube, and William Steele, host, me, of Steele the Spotlight Television and Radio. Now, this is broadcast among many networks that I've established, and so I appreciate the fans that are joining me. I also appreciate my fans from A&E Networks, Inmate to Roommate. For the people who don't know me, I started Inmate to Roommate about my journey getting out of prison after 18 years for nonviolent crimes. And I write books, and for the fans who keep asking me, and keep pouring out all that love and encouragement, saying, hey, is there going to be a season 2? I'm not allowed to say. My lips are sealed. If I told you, I'd have to kill you. So, you know how that goes. But let's just put it this way. On TikTok alone, a fan said to me, he said, hey, is this the real Bill from Inmate to Roommate? He says, you're blowing up on TikTok. I said, I've been in prison half my freaking life. What the hell is TikTok? So I look it up. It's got 9 million views. I look it up again recently, like a week ago. It's got 11.1 million views. So if you think the network, thank you, it became one of the top rated reality shows in the entire United States. it destroyed 60 Days In and many of these other shows. So I was thrilled to see my show and my face advertised anytime they would play Shawshank Redemption, one of the best prison movies out there. You'd see my face on the commercials coming up, Inmate to Roommate with Bill. So it's been a humbling experience. And now I have these channels, these shows, my books, which you're going to find in the link. If you like what I'm doing, hit like and subscribe. Check out the books. But more than that, I like to tell stories here on these channels on William Steele True Crime, not just crime. I want to tell inspirational stories, stories of redemption, stories of people going through tremendous battles in their life and their life story. And they really, really, they don't hide under a rock. They're out there trying to make a difference, trying to make changes, trying to get things done. And guys, even like reformed gangsters, if you're writing a book, you're doing a movie, you're appearing in movies. We interview Cyril DePaggio and Anthony Caliendo from Mob King. Mob King's going to drop this week in theaters and all across everywhere. I reviewed Mob King. I gave it a 5-star movie. So Cyril did some time in prison, turned his life around. He's making movies. I said that to say this. You got a story to tell. Look me up. Go to officialwilliamsteele@icloud.com. Give me your pitch. Hey, I'm going through this in life, or I went through this, turned it around. Now I'm doing this. If it's recovery space, prison, illness, whatever it is, we'd like to hear your story. And I would guarantee you, one way or the other, will get you on my platforms. And there's millions of eyes on my platforms right now. So God has blessed me, and I want to bless others with giving them some exposure. That being said, I can get long-winded. Let me introduce today's guest. Today's guest, JC Capone. Now, we know he's got an extremely famous relative. No, he doesn't. It's just an interesting name. So for the genre that I'm in, but so JC Capone, really good guy from New York, and we hit it off. We get along real well. A friend of ours, William Crooks, Bill Crooks. He's got an extraordination. He does inspirational stories. Said, hey, you want to talk to this guy? Maybe put him on your show. He's got an inspirational story about an illness he's going through, and you've never heard anything like it in your life. JC's on screen with us now. He's going through a Parkinson's battle. But I will look, if you talk to this man and you hear him and his faith and his motivation, I challenge you not to be moved to tears. And with that being said, I'd like to, and this is a man not looking for sympathy or pity. This is a man trying to raise awareness and love his kids and his wife. So let me introduce, my new friend and, guest on tonight's show, JC Capone. Welcome to my show, JC.
Mr. Steele, I said this to you off camera, and I'll tell you on camera. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for wanting to hear my story and allowing me to share my story on your platform. Coming from where I come from, old school Italian family, people that usually went in never came out. And when they did come out, they went right back in again. So you did 18 years, and now you're the star of a hit TV show, A&E, on A&E, Inmates to Roommates. I mean, I tip my hat to you. Writing a book, you're writing a screenplay. I mean, you're doing all kinds of great things. You're an inspiration to people that say they can't do something because they've been incarcerated or whatever the case may be. Well, you're a living example, and I tip my hat to you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without my faith and some mentors and drive in my life. I stayed in the books. I stayed in the Word. I stayed involved helping people in prison rather than get involved with any negativity. And I just made a decision that I wasn't going back. It wasn't my first trip. And here I am. God's blessed me with some opportunities, and I'm all over it. I take advantage of them. Again, I also want to spin it around and help people. So, JC, for my audience, from Inmate to Roommate especially, and Steal the Spotlight radio and TV, William Steele True Crime podcast, YouTube channel, tell my fans, my supporters, my audience who you are. What's going on?
Basically, it boils down to I'm JC Capone and I have Parkinson's disease. Now, what's your excuse? I talked to thousands of people throughout the course of this journey that I've been on for the last 7 years. And I just want people to know that it's not over. As long as you have faith and you believe in yourself, you can overcome any obstacle. Everything and anything is impossible till the right guy or woman comes along and makes it possible. So, like being on this show right now, you would ask me a couple of weeks ago that I would be hanging out with Mr. William Steele from inmates to roommates, I would have never believed it. And now I'm on a podcast with you, and it's amazing, sir. I was on YouTube this morning after we spoke, and I was watching. You could stream some of your videos on inmates to roommates, and I was watching a couple of episodes. Man, the things you went through, it was hilarious, bro. I mean, how did you survive with those people?
Well, they were a really strict Seventh-day Adventist couple, and she was my pen pal for many years. Little did I know, she had a crush on me. When I moved in, it became really weird when I wasn't into her, and she was, yeah, it was just a weird situation. I, had to deal with parole and biting my tongue, and really, turn my life around. So I wasn't going to respond like I may have done in the past. But I can look at the old episodes and I laugh my ass off. I cannot believe I
I
went through
tell
that.
you,
But I've
you
told
know,
people, look, I've had cellmates that were horrendous, and I put up with all that and dealt with that, appropriately. And so these people were really a cakewalk for me. I find it more amusing than anything else. But evidently, I've been called one of the funniest people in the country right now because of the way I handle it. So
she must have fell in love with your guinea charm and your olive oil voice.
my olive oil voice, those people were really crazy. I dealt with a lot, and I had to bite my tongue. And so I'm glad you liked it. Hopefully, your
It's hilarious.
family will check it out. Support what I'm doing. Just hit like and subscribe,
Yeah,
especially on this channel. But
for people that just tuning in, I just want to reiterate what a pleasure and an honor it is to star of inmates to roommates. When you walked into that room, Will, not to put a little light on you, Parkinson's disease is. When you walked into that room and you saw the unicorn with the light, the night light with the unicorn, did you think that this was a spoof, like it was a gimmick that the cameras were going to come out from behind the walls? I mean, then they had the poster with the rainbow on it, the Ten Commandments or whatever, that you couldn't break these rules.
right. Well, I think I commented on there. I can't believe this. Am I being pranked or something like that? You know, so, uh, there was a gigantic list of rules. There was post-it notes on the rules. Um, I actually have the rules around here somewhere. I'll try to get them on screen for you here in a minute. But
That'd be awesome.
we actually have the original screen use one. This shirt screen used also was used in many episodes. This is the actual shirt.
Can I get one in a 2X, sir, and cut the sleeves off? I like to show the cannon.
There you go. So we're getting ready to put these out with a little logo and stuff on them because you gave me actually
I,
pretty good
The
ideas.
the first one you sent, can you please send mine autographed and put a number 1 on it? Because when you become super famous, I want to say I know that guy, and I got his first original shirt.
Yeah, we could do something like that. Why not?
There you go.
This was actually a little bit your idea. So we were doing stuff with shirts anyway, but
No,
Joe,
no. This is your show. You're the captain. I'm just here to. I like the shirt. That's why. The only thing, I'll tell you a funny story. Somebody sent me a shirt, right? And it was long sleeve. And as you can tell, I don't wear long sleeves. And there's a story behind that. But so down the sleeves, it had writing on it. And so I cut the sleeves off. And the guy got all offended. He was like, yo, you destroyed my shirt. I said, brother, once you give it to me, it's my possession. I can do whatever I want with it. Yo, the
exactly.
guy blocked me. He took me off his Instagram. He
Well,
blocked me. I felt so bad. So now when I tell people if they're going to send me a shirt or something, be advised that I'm going to cut it. And the reason why I cut shirts is because my body temperature could go from 0 to 100 degrees because my regulator, let's say, it doesn't work well. So I get very hot very quickly and I start to sweat profusely. So I wear no sleeve shirts, not because I want to show off the arms, but because it actually ventilates my body a little bit and I
so
remain a little cooler.
but in my opinion, I don't know who this guy is. He's kind of being petty, like you said. Somebody gives you a gift; it's your prerogative what you do with it. Um, you shouldn't be offended. You might be like, "What the hell?" But in the end, you have to look at it like it was a gift. So, all right, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
he overlooked your medical reasons for doing it. Let's
you
roll
know,
into your story. I want to know, who you are, where you come from, and this
um,
Parkinson journey and your family. You have such a compelling, inspirational story.
this like I start off now with every conversation. I'm JC Capone and I have Parkinson's disease. Because people could obviously tell that I'm shaking, and they don't assume Parkinson's disease with a 46, 47-year-old guy that's in the gym, takes good care of himself. And so they think you might be on drugs or you're on alcohol. So for people that don't know, this is the effects of Parkinson's disease. This hand stays locked all day, and this hand shakes. So if you can imagine trying to write an email, trying to write a text, trying to dial a phone number, I mean, when I have to push a button, you can see how hard it becomes.
Right.
So it's a very difficult situation to be in, and this hand stays locked like this, and so.
What were you doing before? What were you doing?
Before I had this disease, sir, I was a contractor. I did masonry work. We did patios, pavers, stone facing, brick facing, and I thought I was strong. You know, I mean, physically I could carry a wheelbarrow of bricks, cements, and bags on my shoulders, but I might have been physically strong, but mentally, I think I was lacking with the mental strength, because when I got hit with this disease, it sent me into a deep depression. I mean, I had the iron right up against the forehead. People think that Parkinson's disease is an 80-year-old, 70-year-old person disease. Instead, that's not true. Young onset Parkinson's is the #1 neurological disorder. And every 9 minutes, somebody under the age of 50 is getting it. So maybe about 65,000 people this year alone will have what I have. And there is no cure for it. The same playbook that they had from 75 years ago, 70 years ago, they're still using the same playbook. And the drugs and medicine that they have out there only masks the disease, but it doesn't cure the disease. So my question to the people out there that are doing R&D, we could have an autonomous vehicle drive a trailer loaded with stuff across the country. We could send rockets with people to live in outer space for years on end, and we can't figure out how to stop somebody from tremoring or freezing up. I think that this disease, because it's an older person's disease and they get put into these nursing homes, and they get kind of like discarded and nobody cares about it. But trust me, if it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. So we want to, my mission is, besides Michael J. Fox and Muhammad Ali, Will, how many other celebrities you know that came out that said, how many people are advocating for this disease? I mean, not too many, I would guess.
I know one that's coming out. He's a celebrity. We'll get to that in a minute. You.
My boy. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Listen. So, how did you first notice that you were having trouble? What was the what
You
happened?
know, I was always a heavy lifter. Like I said, being in the cement business, you constantly lifting heavy. So my shoulders would always ache, my body was always tired, my back always hurt. But that's par for the course when you're doing cement work. But one night, these stories, I like to, where we come from, you take your glasses off when you're talking to somebody. It's disrespectful if you don't, and you look people in the eye so that way they know that you're for real. One night, sir, when I was just turned 40, I'm 39 and a half, I had just gotten married, and I'm sitting in bed, and my hands are shaking, and my body is bouncing, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my wife wakes up, and she's like, hey, knock it off, you're starting to scare me. And I said, hey, kid, I can't stop shaking. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I just can't stop. And this is what I was looking like in bed. So we went to the emergency room, and they do a whole battery of tests. They put the wires on your head, electrodes, and monitor your wavelengths, and MRIs, and CT scans, and spinal taps. And we were waiting for the results. And as I'm laying in bed, a doctor, a foreign guy, I don't know what he was, but he had a heavy accent, walking by, never looked at me, never did any tests on me. And he pokes his head into the room, and he says, you know what you have, right? I mean, just like that. You know what you have. And my wife said, no, what does he have? He said, he's got Parkinson's.
Wow.
And that's how we found out, from a doctor that was walking the floor, poked his head in. As a matter of fact, we call him Dr. Kevorkian because that's what it felt like.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I'll tell you, that little kid that was sitting next to me, she almost passed out. And ever since that day, your life changes completely. You no longer can operate a business because, I mean, how are you going to do any kind of cement work with your hands like this? And so what happens is that you start losing everything that you worked for, everything that you built. Everything starts going away because when the business shuts down, the money stops flowing. And once the money stops flowing, the business is closed, the phone calls stop coming in. And now you're 40, 41-year-old, and you're fighting a system called disability Social Security.
Right.
And they're there to try to deny you of benefits because they want to say that you could work. So I had to hire a lawyer to prove, even though I have stacks of paperwork saying that I have Parkinson's, the system decided that it wasn't enough. So thank God, with the lawyer, we were able to achieve and receive disability. But the money that they pay for a family of four, it's laughable. It's ridiculous. It's insane.
And the reason a bunch of bureaucrats try to make a medical decision to deny you for what reason? None whatsoever. I hear these horror stories all the time, and people need lawyers to fight it. It's almost like a scam of some sort.
You know, it's a smack in the face, sir.
Absolutely.
And I understand that there's certain people that try to take advantage of the system, and those people shouldn't receive it. But when you see a guy walk into an office shaking like this, and you want to try to disprove me that I'm making this up or that I'm lying about it, really puts a bad taste right in your throat, you know? And then the money that we get, it's a black and white sheet of paper, meaning X plus Y equals Z, no matter if you have little children or not. So basically, I had only 10 years in the system, so I was only allotted X amount of dollars. And the money that they give people to live on, you can't even buy a pair of sneakers with it.
Right.
And so not only are you dealing with a physical battle, a mental battle, now you're dealing with financial stress. And so that's the perfect cocktail for an explosion. I mean, you know, it's a shame when people that are not only struggling because of a disability, now you're struggling financially on top of that.
Right.
And that makes the strongest of foundations crack. Because when the bill collectors start coming and calling, it puts a tremendous amount of stress on your spouse as well. And so it's not easy, sir. It's not easy.
How long were you married at the time of your diagnosis?
6 months, brother. And I looked at her. And now my wife is 7 years my junior, so I was 40. She was 33. We were just married 6 months. And I told her, I said, hey, kid, this is not your fight. You're only married, you're 33 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. The writing on the wall is real grim for me. So if you want an annulment, or you want, I'll give you the wedding, whatever we gain from the wedding. You can take all as much as you need. And we had no kids at the time, so I told her, I said, this is an out for you. You don't have to deal with this, because the people that suffer the most is not only the person that's going through, it's the person that's living with it.
Right.
Because when I can't make it to the bathroom, or when I can't get up, or when I can't get dressed, or when I can't wash myself, who's the person that's getting it? And when your emotions are out of control because you're so angry for having this disease, they catch the raw end of everything. And so they have it called what's called the Caretaker Act. But being that it's your spouse, they cannot qualify as a caretaker. But who else besides your spouse that lives with you 24 hours a day is your caretaker? I mean,
Right.
they're the ones that are helping you the most. They're the ones that are helping you get out of bed, helping you eat. Because when I try to eat, the reason why I stay skinny, Bill, is not because I don't eat. It's just because about 50% of the food before it hits my mouth is on the floor and the ceiling.
Right.
So it doesn't get to my belly. So that's why I stay relatively thin.
Right.
But the system is very, very hard on people. And like I said, it's so many things that go on. And it's almost like pushing you to the point to where you can't come back anymore. And this is why I went on Instagram and I do like a 30-second or a 1-minute inspirational video in the mornings, because there are a lot of people suffering, not only with Parkinson's, but with cancer, depression, anxiety. I mean, you talk to people and you'll find out exactly that there's a lot of people out there that are suffering, a lot of people that are hurting, whether it's physical, financial, mental. And these people don't have nobody to voice to. They're like, what happened with me, sir, is that I went to a few therapists. Now these guys are in the 3-piece suit, sitting on the couch, and they're just sitting there collecting your insurance, and they don't really, not to say that they didn't do anything, but I'm just trying to say that I didn't vibe with them. We were two different people. So I'm just a regular Joe telling people, hey, listen, I feel your pain. I feel it. Trust me. If you're battling cancer, I had a father who battled cancer, who lost the fight 4 years ago. But
Sorry.
I'm just depression. I've been there.
Tell my audience, and I'll put the link in the description of this video. Where can they find you on Instagram? Because I saw some of your clips and they're extremely moving and inspirational, and just incredible that you would take your time out of your day to do that for other people. Where can they find you on Instagram?
And Instagram is JC Capone, 76 on IG, and I try to let people know that you gotta find and keep God in your heart. You gotta pray, but you gotta believe, sir. You can't. God just doesn't come out and say, "Okay, Johnny's a believer for one day. It's time to heal him."
Right.
You just gotta believe, and you gotta pray. My story is a story about overcoming, because I was once at the top. I had a very successful business. I was doing very well for myself. Then we hit rock bottom, and there was many a times where I thought about giving up. There was many a times where I thought I wasn't worthy of being on this earth anymore.
Right.
And see where I'm sitting right now is my basement. And I'd come downstairs every night and I'd pray and I'd ask God, give me a sign. Let me know, why are you allowing this to happen to me? I've been a good person. I respected the commandments. I played the game right. I never did drugs. I never smoked. And for some reason, Instagram just came up, and it felt like I was supposed to do these videos. And so we started doing these videos. And now the funny thing is like I said, I come from an old school Italian family where we keep everything under the carpet inside the house, locked in a vault. You're not supposed to go on camera. You're not supposed to go on TV and tell anybody your business.
Right.
So when I started doing these videos, and I got phone calls from people from the cafe to family members from Italy. And they were like, yo, did you flip your lid? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, what are you doing? You're putting all your story out on Instagram. What's going on here? And I said, listen, I'm not talking about anything but God, family, love, and giving people hope.
Right.
And so I was catching a lot of heat for that, right? And I'm going to tell you, even my wife, towards the before something had happened, 2 weeks prior, she had a talk with me. And she's like, "Hey, John, you're spending a lot of time downstairs. You're doing these videos, but nothing's coming out of them. People are not. They don't really care about it, about Parkinson's disease. It's not really going anywhere. So maybe you should think about devoting more time to something else and giving a go out of it, because this is not working for you." So and that night I came downstairs and I had the rosary in my hand and I started to pray the rosary, and I asked God and I said, listen, please give me a sign. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And like I said, just before I thought I was about to give up, I get a phone call. Now picture this. I'm driving in the truck. I got my wife here. I got 2 children in the back, 2 years old and 3-year-old, Antonio and Giovanna. And I'm getting this call from a 319 something something. So, and it keeps calling, and I keep hanging up the phone. And it calls, and I hang up. It calls, and I hang up, because we get so many robocalls nowadays. If I don't know the number, I just send it to voicemail. They leave a message, and then if it's worth calling back, I call them back.
Right.
So finally, this number kept appearing. My wife's like, "Yo, why don't you just answer the phone?" So I pick up the phone, and it's a wonderful person from an agency out in California, and so she's like, "Hi, this is Jackie so and so from this casting agency. We'd like to put you in a movie." I hung up the phone. So she calls back again. She's like, "This is." I said, "You didn't get the hint the first time. I'm not interested." Hang up again. So finally, she calls back. I tell my wife, I said, "Listen, Google this person, see if it's a legit agency, And she does, and she says, John, Jay, this looks legit." So I hear, so I say, okay. So I answer the phone. I said, "This is JC. How could I help you?" The lady was so indignified. She said, "If you hang up on me one more time, I've been in this business 35 years. This is the first time I'm calling somebody off the internet. So you want to throw away your golden ticket, go right ahead."
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, now you take this seriously, So says, "What's up?" She says, "Director by the name of Grand Singer, and a shout out to the entire Singer family. God bless them, great people. May God bless them, and the mother and father and the sisters, great people." She says, "Grand Singer would like to put you in a movie." She wants to put me in a movie. "Are you sure?" She says, "Yeah." She says, "He took a liking to you." I say, "He took a liking to me? I don't even know the guy." She says, "No, he saw one of your videos." I says, "He saw Grand Singer." Now, mind you, he's a famous music director. Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift. I mean, he's worked with the heavy hitters. I said, "This guy wants to put me in a movie off of a 30-second video that I've done?" So I says, "Yeah, you know what? Tell Grant to call me directly. I'll be available at 7:30 tonight if he's serious." Because I thought it was probably one of my guys creating a spoof. So I said, "This can't be real." So I says, "Tell Grant to call me like a big shot, Have him call me directly, and I'll speak to him directly, So as sure as the day is long, 7:30 I get a phone call, and it's from Grand Singer. And now my jaw drops because here's a big time music director, soon to be film director, calling me personally on my cell phone. And he says, "Hey JC, how are you? I'm Grant Singer." Sorry about that, William.
That's okay. We're gonna start back up. So at 38.
Can you hear me, Willie?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Hello, 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 hello.
I got you, Willie. Can you hear me?
Yep. So Grant Singer calls you. Go ahead.
And he's like, "Hey JC, what's up?" And I'm like, "This can't be real." I said, "What is this? Somebody playing a joke? I mean, what's going on here?" And now, mind you, I've been battling Parkinson's for 4 or 5 years at this point. I've been through the depression. I lost all my money, almost lost my family, I almost lost my life. So here's a director from Hollywood calling me, and he says, "JC, your videos have inspired me. I'd like to put you in a movie." Now, God puts his hand into something when you deny you refuse the job. Meaning, I said to him, I said, "Hey, Grant, I have Parkinson's disease. I shake. I'm anxious. I'm sorry, but I can't do the movie." People that have been actors for 100 years have never sat down next to JT, Justin Timberlake, or Benicio del Toro, or Dominic Lombardozzi, Alicia Silverstone. I mean, these are the people that I work with. So he calls back, and like I said, divine intervention. These guys had so much patience with me. He goes, "Listen, we know you shake. Nobody here on set is going to judge you. We love you, and we want you in this movie. So please come on down." So I discussed it with the missus, and sure enough, I'm in a movie called Reptile. It's coming out on Netflix in 2023. It's been confirmed. So we're just waiting on when it's going to drop, but hopefully in the next few months or so. And just like I said before, I got to sit down next to the great ones like Benicio del Toro, who's done tons of movies. I mean, Traffico, Sicario, and all that.
Right.
Justin Timberlake, another great actor. Dominic Lombardozzi, who's in the movie, is in tons of movie, and now he's in Tulsa. So I was very blessed. So in one end, this has been a curse, but in the other end, I really do believe that there's a purpose for me to have this disease.
Absolutely.
That God is using me as a tool to bring awareness. And I think once this movie drops, and thank you to the executive producers and Netflix for allowing me to talk about Parkinson's disease and bring some awareness to it. I hope that we become a positive face and a force in not only the Parkinson's community, but in the healing community, because we want to bring healing to people that have lost their way. We want to give strength to people in time of weakness, and we want to show people the light in their time of darkness.
Wow.
And I want people to know that if you're not vibing with your therapist, or you're not vibing with your doctor, I'm no therapist, I'm not a doctor, but I'm here to listen, and I'm here to stay on the phone with you all night if necessary. But don't do anything crazy. I got you. God's got you. William Steele has got you.
That's right.
So, inmates to roommates. Imagine having this guy as a roommate. I'm going to bring him to my house. I want you as my roommate. How about that? I'm going to put a list on the board. I'm going to make a big list. Do anything you want. Just be quiet after 9 o'clock because the kids go to sleep. That's my list. Wow, there you go. That was right on the wall behind the bed. No profanity, no meat, no dairy, no visitors, no talking on the phone. I mean, what else is off that list?
So this was the list on the wall. First episode, inmate to roommate. It's in their trailers. I'm not giving away any spoilers. But this is the crazy list I had to deal with. These list of rules: no ice, no meat. So yeah, if I come to live with you, hopefully I can have some ice and some meat. And
Hey, I want to
counting my
tell you.
toilet paper use. You know.
I want to tell you something. The reason why I ran a little bit late today, my father-in-law came over with a rack of lamb chops,
Oh my
and he
god!
makes them with a little cognac sauce, garlic, puts them in the frying pan till they come nice and a little crispy. I had about 6 or 7 of them right before I came on, so I apologize that I ran about 2 minutes late. But how could you deny lamb chops fresh off? You pull them right off the bone. They were delicious.
I haven't
I'm a
had them.
bit.
I haven't had them since I've been out of prison. I would kill them with you. I would eat them.
Because you got an option. This place, and I know you're still in the Midwest, sir.
I'm still filming in the Midwest. I'm from Brooklyn, as you know, so that's where I'm
Right.
from.
So you got to come back
Graves,
home, son.
from Gravesend, Bensonhurst area.
You got to come back home because we're gonna have some lamb chop. You're gonna come to my house. We're gonna eat lamb chops, whatever you want. We'll start off with a little fresh mozzarella. Nice. Then we'll make the roasted peppers with a little bit of oil on the top. Then we'll do a nice pasta. Do you like penny alla vodka or
Absolutely.
spaghetti with clams?
You know how to entice somebody, one, who's been to prison and hasn't eaten anything good in so many years, and two, I'm half Sicilian, so I've been eating.
There you go, brother. But we're gonna talk off camera. Maybe you come down and visit us, and you can stay with us for for a little while. And you and your lovely missus there, you guys come down, and maybe we'll go back to the old stomper. I do a lot of shopping in Brooklyn. I go down to 18th Avenue on Sunday mornings, and we still hit up the old bread stores and the bakeries and stuff like that. So we still try to keep somewhat of the traditions alive.
I heard a lot of it has changed. A lot of, like, even Bensonhurst, they say, has gone a lot. It's gone very Asian, very Chinese. Where back in my day, all Italian, Jewish. So it's changed, and I know it's going to be bittersweet going back home. And my house was in a gigantic house. We had one of the nicest houses.
I didn't know they had. Sorry to interrupt you, but the lady said I didn't know they had houses in Brooklyn. I thought they were all apartments.
You talking
Bill
about the lady on my show?
Bill said no. I had probably one of the biggest houses in the neighborhood. She was like, "Oh, really? Oh man, yeah. You can't make this stuff up, you guys. If you go on YouTube, Google William Steele Inmates to Roommates episode 1, and you'll catch it. It's hilarious. Trust me. To see your face, sir, when you walked in and opened the door and you looked at the purple room with the sheets and all that, I said, man, here's the man did 18 years, 20 years, and he's got to come home to a nightlight with a unicorn and purple dinosaurs on his bed pillow.
And her goofy husband said, I just did the room that way to test Bill. And I'm like, I can't even have a guest in the room. So I don't care. I don't care if it was pink or purple. They wouldn't even let me have a guest over. So I just had a comfortable bed, and so I just let it roll off.
Bill, not for nothing. How many times you want to take this thing out and go to town?
No comment.
You know what I mean?
Clean show.
Yeah, no comment. Exactly. But this is
the opinion and views of Mr. Capone do not necessarily support the views of William Steele or this channel.
No, this is just the American flag. We love our country.
That's right. Yeah.
God bless America.
Hey, I interviewed Anthony Raimondi. He wrote a book called "When the Bullet Hits the Bone." He was a Colombo enforcer back in the day. He's an older gentleman now in Brooklyn, and he's got war stories for days. And he's trying to tell them to help people. And I said, "Hey, you've been watching my show, Inmate to Roommate." I said, "How would you have dealt with those people? You see all the crap they put me through, where I couldn't have meat, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, and talking down to me, searching my room like they were the police. They'd call my parole,
locking you out.
Yeah, they wanted me to pick the lock. I said, "Really? You gonna listen? I'm a locksmith. You're gonna set me up for another burglary charge?" I laid right
Yeah.
on their front lawn until they came back from wherever the hell they were, and I said, "Now you let me in. I'm not picking the lock to get to. You can get me arrested."
I
So
tell you.
I asked Anthony. I asked Anthony. I said, "What would you have done with those people?" Here's a guy who was a Colombo enforcer, really, a real bad dude back in the day.
I
And
tell you how we feel.
he said, you know what? He says, I can't really talk about it, but somebody would have had an accident. Hey, I'd like you to share the story about you remind me of in that one right there. First of all, back in the day, but what was that movie, The Warriors, where they had the guys with the bats? There was one gang with the bats.
Hey, ask a man nicely. They might say no to you. Ask them nicely with a bat on your hand, you might get a different answer. But
Right,
that's just off the record. Off
right.
the record.
Yep.
We're
So
lulled
listen,
by an. Yes, sir.
I'd like you to go back a little bit. Tell me, you had a little bit of a journey. Now you gave your wife the opportunity to go. Good woman, real love there. She married you in sickness and health. You told that story. Now there was also a struggle with you having kids. Even you didn't know if you were going to be able to have children, and then a trip to
You
Aruba.
know, you know, you did your homework, cuz.
Oh yeah,
You sure you weren't talking with the Federal Bureau of Investigation? Did they
no,
give you the history on me?
you had it on another interview, and then on your
No,
own chat,
I know.
discuss some of it.
I know. Just joking around. When you come from a family like I do, the first thing they ask you when you get married, so when you having kids, hey, quando fai i figli? Quando fai i figli? So my mother would say, figlio mio, dove stanno le creature? Dove stanno le bambini? So my mother's been here 52 years. She still speaks about 2 words of English. Everything else is in Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, when I used to get beat by her, she would walk around with the clogs right on the marble floors. It would go clunk, 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 clunk. So I thought I was slick. I'd run away and turn the corner. She'd take those wooden clogs like boomerangs and hit me right in the back of the head. So, so I tell you, give my mother a wooden spoon and watch out. She was dangerous. All 5 feet of her. But so back to what I was saying in Italian is when you get married, the first thing is when you're having children, when you're gonna start having kids. And now a year passes, 2 years pass, 3 years pass. Now it's the conversation. Hey, what's the matter? You shooting blanks, huh? You can't have any kids, huh? Ah, the Parkinson's got you effed up, huh? And everybody's making fun of you, like, oh, look at this guy, you can't have kids. So what
People have
happened was,
people have no mercy. They're ruthless. They don't realize they make a
oh,
joke.
and you know what happens is, I truly believe, we had this discussion, me and my wife, and we said, listen, if God wants it to be, it'll happen. But if God doesn't want it to happen, we're not going to do any in vitro. Not that I'm against it, but it was just, we put it in God's hands.
Yeah.
And the kid said, why don't we go on vacation and get away from this whole negativity and all this? Because everybody comes along and they have their input on how you should take care of Parkinson's and what you should be doing. And they have no clue on what the disease is or what it's about, but they see one special with MJ Fox on it. Oh, Michael J. Fox is doing this. Maybe you should try this. Yeah, maybe, and that's where they get their knowledge of it is off of an infomercial.
Right.
So the depression, the stress, and all of that stuff was just weighing so heavy on us, and putting a lot of external stress on the marriage. And so she says, let's go to Aruba. So I said, you know what? F it. Let's go to Aruba, And we go to Aruba and we're there for 4 or 5 days. It's beautiful. The weather's nice. There's no
Hold on.
bossy. Yes, sir.
Hold on. First of all, you almost missed the flight. What happened? Don't skip that.
Oh, Maron, man, you're good. Listen, what happened? I forgot that story. Now, I'm like, well, when it comes to getting ready, it takes me a long time, right? But I'm always the guy. Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll make it. Don't worry about it. We'll make it. So we have to catch a flight at, let's say, 7 o'clock.
Right.
It's 5:30. I'm still in the shower. My wife is all dressed, ready to go by the door, and I'm still in the shower. She's like, "Come on, let's go. We're gonna miss our flight. We're gonna miss our flight." Don't worry about it. We'll get there. My brother pulls up in the car. He's blowing the horn. Now we're in a dash to get to the airport. So we get to the airport. My wife makes a beeline for the machines there, the kiosk machines, right? So now you got to see me walking, sir. This arm is hooked. This arm shakes, and my left leg drags. I know it's not funny, but it is funny. I look like the guy from the Chainsaw Massacre when he's trying to chase people down, and he's dragging and dragging. So my wife makes a beeline. She's about a football field away from me, right? So thank God if this guy ever watches this, his name is Vlad. He was the wheelchair guy from JetBlue, a Russian gentleman. I love you. I lost your number, but man, thanks to you, I had my first child, and it really was because of him. So,
Shout out to Vlad.
gate 19 flying to Aruba is now closing. So all of a sudden, I hear that my wife is like, "Come on, come on, come on, come on." So before you go to the airport, she's like, "Do you want us to sign you up for a wheelchair?" No, I said, "What do I look like? I'm handicapped? No, I don't want a wheelchair." She's like, "But honey, you are handicapped." I'm like, "Nah, you know what? I can do it." All right, so so I refuse the wheelchair service because the JetBlue is a great company. They provide wheelchairs to handicapped people, but put your pride on the side. I didn't put my pride on the side that day. So as I hear gate number 19 to Aruba closing, I feel a tap on my shoulder. Now I turn around. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, my friend, you need a wheelchair. I help you." I said, "Do I look like I'm handicapped to you?" Now looking back, of course, yes, I am handicapped. But I said to him, "Do I look like I'm handicapped? I don't need a wheelchair." So he's like, "Is that your wife?" And she's all the way down by the kiosk. He's like, "You're never gonna make the airplane unless you get into the wheelchair." So I said, "Do me a favor, get the F away from me. I don't need a wheelchair." So as I proceed about another 5 feet, the guy's he's very persistent, and he's following me with the wheelchair. He's like, "My friend, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it." So I hear again, final boarding call for gate number 19, Aruba. Now I says, "Oh shit." The guy's like, "You want to ride now? Get in the wheelchair." So I get in the wheelchair. Boom, he zips me down all the way down to the kiosk area. He cuts the line. He goes right to the teller. So now I got this lady. She must have been on time of the month or something, right? She goes, she goes, "Oh, the gate's closed. You're out of luck. Try again later or try to get another flight." Now, for me, I'll tell you the truth, I really didn't care. So I was like, "All right, honey, let's go home." The poor kid, she starts crying. She's like, "I've been anticipating, waiting for this trip for months. You know, we're under so much stress. I really need this vacation." So I'm like, "What do you want me to do? Tell the teller." Yeah, I says to the lady, I says, "Oh, you see, don't do it for me. Do it for her. She's dealing with me having Parkinson's." So she goes, so the Vlad jumps up and he says, "Hey, call the manager here." And I says, "Really?" So they call the manager over, and I said, "Listen," I pulled the guy to the side. I said, "Look," I said, "I got Parkinson's. Don't do it for me. I'm not pulling any handicap cards, but this kid right here, she's been through the mill." I says, let her get on this flight. Do it for her, not for me. She's crying. She really needs this trip away." So he goes, "You know what? All right, open the gate." So we go to the gate. Vlad wheels me all the way down. I'm the last person to get on. And I give the kid a half a chop. I said, "When I come back, I'll give you the other half." So half a chop is $50.
Right.
So I give him a $50 tip. And I said, "When I come back," he says, "Here, Mr. Capone, here's my number. Anytime you fly, please call me and I'll help you out." And so, great guy, wonderful guy. And now we were flying on the plane to Aruba, right? And I start getting nervous because I haven't been on a plane in a while. So my anxiety, my stress level is building up, building up, building up. I pass out on the plane. Oh my God, I pass out on the plane. All of a sudden, for about 20 seconds, and then I come back to life, and my wife is screaming. And is there over the loudspeaker? Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? Right. So I'm like, yo, shut up. I'm fine. It was just an anxiety attack. Don't. They put me on blast. The whole plane is looking at me. Everybody's standing up. Is he all right? Is he all right? So
Which
now
is gonna,
my anxiety.
it's gonna make you have another attack.
Right. So now my anxiety's going. So now I'm going like this, right? And the freaking people are bugging out. So this young kid walks up to me, right? And he jumps in the seat next to me. He goes, are you okay? I look at him. This kid looked like Doogie Howse. He was about 25 years old. I said, who are you? He goes, I'm a doctor. I said, you're a doctor. How old are you? He says, I'm 32. I says, what does that have to do with, are you feeling okay? I said, yeah, why? He says, you mind if I ask you a question? I says, no, go ahead. What's up? He says, did you release, your bowel movements? I said, what do you mean? Did I take I says, no, I didn't do none of that. He says, I says, listen, buddy, I have Parkinson's disease, and when I get anxious and my stress levels get elevated, my body wicks out, and sometimes I faint. So he's like, you sure you're okay? I said, we're 4,000 feet up in the air. Even if I wasn't okay, what are we going to go to the hospital now? Make a U-turn, pull up at the next hospital. We're over the Atlantic Ocean. Where are we going? Of course I'm okay. I got no choice but to be okay. So we get to Aruba. We have a great time. It was beautiful, drinking margaritas at the beach every day. Nice. No Italians next to you. Hey, what are you shooting blanks? What, you can't have no babies? What, you don't know how to do it? So we didn't have any of that, right? And so we come back. It's about 2 weeks. And now, when you go to these foreign places, you drink the water, you get a stomach ache or a bad reaction. So my wife goes, damn, my stomach's been hurting me for the last couple of weeks. And not thinking anything about it, I says, maybe you got an indigestion, because maybe we had some food over there that didn't agree with you. So she says, if it goes on for another day or two, I'm going to go see the doctor. I says, all right, let's go see the doctor. So we go to the doctor, and they do a sonogram to check the stomach to see if there's anything. So the doctor's sitting there, and he goes, oh, man. I says, oh, man, what? He says, I see something. I said, she got a tumor? He says, no, she doesn't have a tumor. I said, well, what is it? An ulcer? What does she got? He says, no. He says, come back at 7 o'clock. We'll do the sonogram, the 3D sonogram. I said, Doc, is there something serious? He says, you're having a baby. I says, I'm having a baby. Get the hell out of here. It's been 3 years I've been shooting down range and nothing happened. He said, well, guess what? One of your bullets hit the target and you're having a baby. So thank God to Vlad. God bless you, Vlad. I tell you the truth. If it wasn't for him, I'd still be sitting in Long JFK Airport, not getting on the plane. So thanks to him,
Time to
I
relax.
had the baby.
You need a time to relax.
But that guy
from New York life and Italian pressure.
But I tell you, the best thing was when I turned around and I said, "Do I look handicapped to you?" He said, "My friend, I think you are handicapped." I says, "Oh shit, you're right. I have Parkinson's." So that was a funny story. And another thing is,
Anthony Riamonde's calling. We were just talking about him on the show. He's calling right now.
Bring him in. We'll have 3 guests on tonight. Yeah. So listen to this.
Let me bring him on for a second. Hang on a second.
Yeah, bring him in. Tell him say what's up.
I didn't call him. I didn't tell him. Anthony, I'm on a show right now, and I was talking about you 2 seconds ago.
Oh, okay.
Say hello to JC Capone. He's on live right now.
How are you, sir?
He's from the Bronx. He's telling an inspirational story about his struggle with Parkinson's. Yeah, I'll share it with you when we get done. But it was pretty weird. It's like you must have known we were talking about you.
His ears must have been ringing.
All right, I'll call you when I get done.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right, Anthony. Bye.
All right.
Have a good night, Anthony.
Isn't that something?
So you want to hear something funny too? My poor daughter, right? When we had a reveal party, right? I didn't know how all my life I thought I was going to have a baby boy. My first child was going to be a boy. My first child was going to be a boy. My father had 2 boys. My brother's got 2 boys. So I figured naturally I'm going to have a boy. So we do the reveal party. And so they have a box. You got to pull the box through the string. Box opens up, fireworks in the background. All these pink balloons come out. And then the blue balloons come out. So I'm like, all right, I'm having a boy. I'm jumping around. Then all of a sudden, pink balloons come out again. I'm like, what the freak is this? Pink balloons? You see me on video. Everybody's table. I start kicking the box, throwing the box. I kicked the box into the pool. Everybody was mortified. I was like, and the most precious thing in the world is a daughter and a baby girl. And I apologize in the future when she sees that video on somebody's channel or something. Daddy loves you, Giovanna. I really wasn't expecting a girl at first. I thought it was going to be a boy, but Daddy loves you.
Oh, man. You're definitely a character, man. Funny. I'm glad you're able to keep your humor even in the face of this illness. So,
not to interrupt you, Bill, but there's so much heartache and depression that goes with this disease. If you don't, and that's why I get back to what I was telling you earlier about being strong. Physically, I was strong, but mentally and spiritually, I was lacking in faith. I was lacking in the mental fortitude. So I really do believe that I was broken all the way down to 0 to rebuild me up, not only stronger, but spiritually. My relationship with God got closer. My mental toughness. There was a time where you would say Parkinson's disease and it would trigger a massive anxiety attack. And now I could say it easily and freely. I've come to terms with it. I've come to grips with it. And I'm trying to help other people that have it. And my relationship with God is real tight. Even though many nights I tell him to come visit me because I like to go a couple of rounds with him, And but we got a mutual understanding. But so now getting back to the movie, if you would ask me when I first got diagnosed that I would be on your show or that I'd be watching your series on A&E and Mates to Roommates, that I'd be joking around with William Steele, or that I would be talking about Parkinson's and joking about it and trying to help other people, and then being chosen for a movie with A-list celebrities, I would have said, you're crazy. My life is over because I'm shaking. I lost all my mojo, my self-confidence. And if I could do it, people, and I could do it with these kind of conditions, no matter what you're going through, you could do it. It might not be easy, but life is never easy. Whether you're battling finances, depression, anxiety, loss of a loved one, life is a battle. It's a constant fight. But I can tell you this, you keep getting knocked down, just keep getting back up. Because one day you're going to get up and you're going to stand up and you're going to be the one knocking people down. So don't give up, people.
Yep, don't give up. I think that's a great message. In my case, 18 years in prison, I wasn't going to let that define me or discourage me from doing what's right. Got this show platform trying to help others. Now, I'm not going to share exactly what happened on this platform right now, but as you know, because I shared it with you privately, today's my birthday. Well, 3 days ago, I almost died. I came very close. The doctor said I could have died within any minute, and they did a procedure that saved my life. And I'm not
God bless the surgeon.
I'm not supposed to be doing anything for 2 weeks, but I rested. I'm sleeping a little better, and I feel invincible still. But it was very humbling to see how close I was about to meet my maker. And so I decided, this story is important to tell. I want to help you get it out there. So I put better judgment down and took a nice long nap today and decided to do the show. But that struggle is nothing compared to what you're going through. And I want to raise awareness. Now, I'd like you to tell us what research is being done today, if you know of any of it. What credible charities are out there where people can maybe donate that you think are, worthy of some more money? What's being done? How far are we from a cure? I remember you mentioned something that there's nothing out there for the last 78 years, the same medication for the last.
You know, the scary thing about Parkinson's is that they don't have a cure for it. They have DBS surgery where they put electrodes in your brain, and you have a little remote control, and you have all these batteries hooked up to you, but nothing really. It's not a cure. Everything is a temporary fix, and it has a shelf life. So basically, what happened was when I went to the doctor, the neurologist. He says, "Oh, congratulations! You know, you got Parkinson's. It's not going to kill you. You could live with this disease." And so I said, "Oh, great." He says, "I'm going to put you on some meds." And the number one medication that they've been using for the last 70 years, 65 years, it's called levodopa carbidopa. And that's what they came out with 70 years ago, and that's what they're still using today. But it has a shelf life, meaning that your body becomes used to it, so you have to ump it up until what happens is that the body just becomes immune to it. And now your body, if you ever see people that have full-blown Parkinson's, they're moving out of control because your body is no longer producing the dopamine and it's no longer accepting the dopamine that's coming in. So you run off the rails completely.
Right.
So is there a cure? No. Should there be a cure? Yes. Should there be more? I mean, Michael J. Fox is out there doing his thing. He's raised billions of dollars in the last 20 years. He's trying. But we need more people out there to step up. We need more organizations. I did a couple of interviews and some stuff with the American Parkinson's Disease Association. Great people. On the boots, on the ground. They actually reach out and touch you. So if I had to say, I would say American Parkinson's Disease Association would probably be one of the best ones I've done. If you look them up, I've done a couple of interviews with Dr. Gilbert, a great lady, Rebecca Gilbert. So respect and props to her.
We'll put a link in the description of this show as well.
Yeah. The problem is, Bill, is that people that get this disease, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed. They try to stay in the shadows. Like myself, I locked myself in a room for 3 years. And, you know, people ask, why did you do that? Why didn't you want to see people? Because when you walk into a room at 40 years old and you're walking like this and people are whispering behind your back, is this guy on drugs? Stay away from him. They cross the street when they see you walking past them. They don't know what you're dealing with. And that hurts. The whispers behind your head will hit you harder than bullets because they resonate and they stay in your brain and you stem on them. And the worst part about this disease, there's two instances that stuck in my mind. After I got diagnosed, I went home to see mom and dad, and I walked in, and my father had a tear coming down his eyes. And he felt so bad, and he tried to cover it up, and he put a smile on, and he said, "Hey, Johnny boy, don't worry about it. If anybody's going to be there, it's going to be you, my boy." And to see your parents cry, it broke my heart, you know?
Right.
And as the disease progresses, I didn't want to see my father see me because he was battling cancer. So I didn't want him to see his boy like this. So that was the first one that hit me. And the second one, my little boy Antonio, who's 3 right now, was born at 4.6 pounds. 4.6 pounds. He looked like a chicken wing almost. He could fit into the palm of your hands basically. And when he first came out, I was in the room. And you know how they usually pass the baby to the father and then to the mother? The nurse, who was a great woman, she went to pass the baby to me. And then she saw me shaking. And she took him back. And she said, "Mr. Capone, I don't advise you holding this child right now." And I said, I understand. She says, your tremors, God forbid you drop them or you shake them too hard, might cause eternal damage, brain damage. And so for almost up to a year or more, until I felt that he was strong enough to hold him, I didn't hold my child. I touched him from the outside, but I never got to hug him.
Right.
And so that bond, that skin-to-skin contact that a father and a son or mother and a son and a daughter have, you lost all of that. So up until a couple of months ago, my son felt like my son. I knew he was my son, but the bond wasn't there yet because of the 9 months, 10 months that I didn't really get to hold him,
Yeah.
And
it's something you can't put into words how important that is.
If this disease is genetic and it's passed down, I'm fighting for my kids. I don't want them to have to go through what Daddy has to go through. And I don't want I want there to be a cure for them. And I just don't want anybody's children to have to go through what people that are dealing with Parkinson's are going through. So if you don't do it for me, we do it for the kids. And that's why I'm fighting as well, because I want them to know that life isn't easy. Life is filled with obstacles, trials, and tribulations. And the one thing that you could say about death and disease, they don't discriminate. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter how much money you have, what color, race, nationality, disease could affect anybody. Death could hit you at any time. You're a perfect example. A couple of days ago, you almost passed away. Thank God that they saved you. So it can happen at any time. So today or tomorrow, this disease might take my body, but it'll never take my freaking heart. It'll never take my soul. It won't take my faith. And I want these kids to know that.
You there? You there? You disappeared, JC. You dropped off. I don't know if you can hear me, but your picture's froze. Mary, I lost the image and everything.
I'm over here.
All right. I can't see your image, though.
Hold on, it's coming back.
So we're going to get ready when you come back to wrap it. I'm going to ask you those 2 questions that I mentioned to you.
You got it, sir. You sound like Mickey Mouse, right? Like, la, 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 la.
I've been sucking helium over here.
It sounded like you swallowed a helium balloon. My system says I'm in the show, uploading recordings. Everything is done.
Yeah, we'll try to get your image back up, and then we'll wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes.
That's God's way. This is God's way of telling us the show's over. Go in peace.
Hey, I'm gonna leave that clip in. That's funny.
You know what's even funny is your voice. Quack, 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 quack.
I'm gonna tell my audience. And during technical difficulties, JC says, "This is God's way of telling you, go in peace."
Yo, Billy, I like you, man. You're a real nice guy, man.
Thank you.
I don't know why we're not coming back up. Yo, hold on, let me press a few buttons. Only problem is when I hit buttons, I wind up in Tokyo somewhere. So just bear with me. If I lose you, you call me back. Hold on, let me see something. It says my camera's on. I'm not sure. There you go. Let's see if I.
It doesn't look like. That sounds like you're in a bird cage.
Am I back on yet? No.
No. I hear that.
Did this ever happen to you before? Yeah, you know, my father said, God don't want you and the devil's scared of you. So that's probably what happened. Either the devil's scared of us or God doesn't want us right now. But you want, how are we going to end this? Do you want to,
Positive things and about he doesn't want to talk about God.
so what do? We jump out and jump back in? How do we work this?
Yes, Mary says, I guess log out, log back on with the link.
So how do I do that now? Let me see. Press the done button.
The show is going good. We're like 3 minutes from wrapping it up. It dies. This is the one. We got to leave that in. I'm going to say during technical difficulties, JC says, and let God's way of saying it, go in peace. Go in peace.
Mom, she loved you. I was putting the patch on her back, and then she accidentally got a little loud.
She was laughing hysterically when he was talking about the death of his father. It sounded like she was in the next room.
Leave her alone, be nice.
He was talking about the death of his father at that moment. He was talking about the death of his father.
Be kind to Mom.
That he was in.
Okay.
Hello.
Let's see. One. Oops. There we go. Now, you.
Hello.
Hey, Billy, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I could hear you.
Can you hear me? I'm just messing with you, man.
Oh, you're freaked up. You know. I know you don't. I don't want to curse on this show, but when you come to New York, I got a little surprise for you too, pal.
Oh,
When you see Old Glory come out, you better start running. And I don't want to hear nothing about muscle dystrophy either.
Muscle dystrophy.
He told that lady, I need meat. I got muscle dystrophy. I've been in jail for 18 years. She wanted to give you chips. He's like, I need meat. She's like, here's some chips, protein chips. I gave you cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese, yeah.
Bro, I did my homework. I know what you're about. Yo, you are a funny guy.
The fans have said they're gonna send her a 55-gallon drum full of cottage cheese.
Yeah. The best is the look on your face, bro. I know you're from Brooklyn. I know how you would have handled it prior to being who you are right now.
And he told his wife, Mark, check your wife.
He goes, yo, I've been in jail 18 years. I want a steak. It's like, we gave you eggs and cottage cheese. What the freak am I going to do with cottage cheese? Put it on a freaking bagel? Give me some steak, some filet mignon over here. What the freak? Yeah.
Hey, I have fans telling me on the internet, putting stuff all over, like on TikTok. Bill, go back to the prison. Tell the warden you want back in. Those people are crazy.
Hey, Bill, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I went with somebody to Denimore. You know what Denimore is, right?
Clinton.
Yeah. Right. So as I'm walking with this person, the CEO comes up and says, "Hey, when did they let you out? Get back in your cell." And the guy says, "No, I'm already out. I've been out and I ain't coming back here." And the guy goes, "Hey, get back in your cell." So, but that was a funny one. But yeah, the show brings to light a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think about. I remember you were on TMZ the other day, and I watched that as well. And to hear you talk about where these prisoners are going to go when they get out of jail, and some of them don't have family, don't have places to stay. So what do you do? I mean, so they should really watch this show and not only laugh but get an education as well.
Okay, JC, let's start closing this out. We're gonna have links in the description. I want you to do first thing. You didn't give a shout out, unless you don't want to say it publicly. The name of your agent, the one that was so persistent with you, and she found your inspirational channel on Instagram, and so did
Jackie Burke from Burke Castings in Los Angeles. Great lady. She has a lot of patience, boy.
Shout out, Jackie. Thank you for being patient with us suspicious New Yorkers.
She was indignified. She goes, "You hang up on me one more time." And she tried to keep it real clean because she's a great woman, a professional, but she wanted to drop those F-bombs on my head. So I appreciate it. I'd like to give a shout out to Netflix for giving me the opportunity. Grant Singer, a wonderful guy, director, future superstar in the film industry. Benicio del Toro for sitting me down and giving me advice when I thought I wasn't worthy of being on set. He said the great guy. Everybody to the cast and all the people at Reptile, thank you for your. I mean, it's not easy dealing with somebody with Parkinson, so they made it such a nice stay and a comfortable stay on set for me. So God bless them. And William Crooks, partners in crime, a mutual friend of ours, Ori, for calling up the agency and verifying that it was a true deal.
Ori Spotto, the accidental gangster.
But if you don't know, listen to Partners in Crime podcast, William Crooks, Coordination. They also hear my story on there along with other stories, and you'll hear William as well. And I want to give a shout out to all those that are suffering and to all those that don't have the family, don't have the support, and don't have their faith. Guys, it's never too late. If you turn your back on God, it's never too late to ask Him for help.
Exactly.
He doesn't, God, you could turn your back on Him, but He'll never turn His back on you. You just got to come back home and ask for help. And if He ain't helping you and you got nowhere else to turn, call me in the middle of the night. I'll sit up with you and try to help as best as I can. And God bless everybody. Life is not easy. The first lesson I would teach my children, and I think everybody should, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be trials and tribulations. You just got to overcome. Overcome. Don't give up. Don't quit. God bless you. God bless William Steele and everything that he's going to do. And thank you for this opportunity, sir. It's an amazing experience.
Thank you for being here. I do have one other question I've been getting into asking a lot of guests, and it's very poignant and maybe a little bit emotional. And I've had to examine that the last few days when I almost lost my life. What if you had to, if God was to take you home today, JC, you would leave this earth. You're a man of faith. You're a man that's dealing with a real struggle here, and you're a great guy. You're out there doing inspirational things. So we know what you're doing today. You're trying to raise awareness. If he was to take you home today, how do you want to be remembered by your community, by your family, more important than anything else? How would you like to be remembered?
That's a loaded question. It really is. And the one thing I could say, I'm a selfish person. And I'd like to send this message. If God took me home tonight and my kids don't understand yet, when they got older, that daddy's not a quitter and daddy's a fighter. And everything he does for you, and he loves you. And don't give up. Don't quit. Use me as an example. They could take my arms, my legs. They could shake me till the day comes home. But God has got us. Keep God in your heart, kids, and don't give up, no matter how bad shit gets. And that's what I would say.
God has got us in the palm of his hand. And I'm very grateful that you came on the show. Please, everybody, hit like and subscribe. Reach out to JC. He's very accessible on his Instagram channel, JC Capone. We're going to have the link in the description. If you have an inspirational story you'd like to be told, look me up at official William Steele at iCloud.com.
The superstar Vaney right there. God bless him.
I'd say
look at this guy's story. He's inspirational. 18 years, guys, plus behind bars. Went to college and behind bars, got an education, is an author. He's going to be writing a movie, star of A&E Inmates to Roommates. So God bless you, continued success, and most importantly, continued health. So that's what I got, and I pray for your health and your wife's health as well.
I'm not married, but appreciate that. But listen, here's the thing. As far as the books, I've got 2 other books coming out soon. One about my life, and there's actually a few others coming out about the criminal justice system, about how to help families navigate when their loved ones going through the criminal justice system. So my book can be found on Amazon on William Steele or on my website right over my head there.
I'd like an autographed copy of one of the first editions.
WilliamSteeleAuthor.com. You'll find two of my books, one about the wealthiest serial killer in American history, Robert Durst, another one about Ghislaine Maxwell, who I knew many years ago. So I wrote a book really getting into detail about that unfortunate experience. I thank you for joining. Check out Steele the Spotlight, radio and TV. William Steele True Crime, also on YouTube. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing. It helps me to earn an honest living. It helps me to continue to tell inspirational stories. All the links are in the descriptions. JC, God bless you. Shout out to your wife. If you want to say her name on the air, now's your chance.
Gina, God bless you. And thank you.
Gina, you sound like a phenomenal woman. And God bless you for staying the course with the vows that you took. It's really inspiring to hear that, because my mother was mentally ill and my father had many chances to leave and he didn't. So I understand why your wife made the same decision. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have this up here in a few days. Thank you for joining us. Stay in touch. Look up JC. Thank you so much for telling the story, your journey, and we're going to follow you. Hopefully you're going to be in a few more movies. I know there's always things that have to be kept quiet. Let's see what else happens with you. You're quite the character as well.
And who knows? One day we might be sitting down here. We might be drinking espresso together.
Who knows? We might be in a movie one day together, right?
I'm telling you, because hey, listen, if you need a place to stay, and we can put you up for a little while, it'd be a pleasure, sir. So we'll talk about that one of these days, and we'll get together.
Right. JC, I'm
God bless you. Thank you, and have a great night, everybody. Buonanotte.
Good night.